It's time to open up your eyes, 'cause we were made to fly. We can do anything. We'll shine like the sun, the moon, the stars. We can go anywhere. They'll see us no matter where we are, 'cause we got the fire. We got the fire. Show the world the impossible is possible. Show the world the impossible is possible. There's a moment when you understand. You don't gotta follow all the plans. It's time to open up your hands.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy February. We thank you for joining us for our February recap of the Cobb County School District Board of Education meeting that was held on yesterday, starting at 1:30. We left there about a little after 8. And so, yes, so thank you all for joining us this morning as we recap and give you some highlights on what took place on yesterday, so that we can continue to make sure that we are communicating and that you're well informed as well. So first, let's start off with February is Black History Month, and so we will be celebrating all month long, as you know. And so one of the highlights was part of the superintendent's report was that he gave several different opportunities that we have around the county for Black History Month. And we talked about what was happening at East Cobb Middle School. They have actually a Black History Research Project. We talked about some of the things that are happening at Rocky Mount, our education elementary virtual program, and what they're doing. North Cobb High School has a celebration where Sherry Hill will be the speaker, and she's our Chief Leadership and Academic Officer for the Cobb County School District. And then he also mentioned the program that the Cobb County Center for Excellence in the Performing Arts at Pebblebrook High School. They'll be putting on a program called Resilience, and it will be at South Cobb High School. In fact, I have a flyer. There we go. Yes, so Friday, which is today, at 7:30 p.m. at South Cobb High School Theater here in the southern portion of the county, the Cobb County Center for Excellence in the Performing Arts will be putting on a Black History Month experience called Resilience. If you want to get tickets for that, you can go to www.showtix.u.com. So it's showtixforyou.com, and you will see that at the bottom of this flyer as well. So please, if you can, join me. I'll be there this evening to look at that Black History Month experience with our students from Pebblebrook High School sharing at South Cobb High School. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Angela. Thank you for joining us this morning. And so, yes, that's the first thing, Black History Month. And let's see what else we talked about yesterday. So a lot of great things happening in our communities. One thing that I want to highlight is that the National Junior Beta Club will be having their induction ceremony for Austell Elementary, and it's going to be held Thursday, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. at Austell Elementary School. And they've asked me to come and to give some words to our students. And so this is an exciting time. I love when I can be in attendance to events such as Beta Club and those inductees, and seeing the progress of our students and celebrating with them and wishing them the best as they move forward. All right, let's get into the meeting on yesterday. Yesterday, we had a presentation from the Cobb, the Development Authority of Cobb County. So Mr. Jeter, who's over that authority, came and he talked to us about a local business here in Cobb County that is asking for some assistance, some tax abatements and things to get their business off the ground. And over the next 10 years, they're going to be bringing in, 30 or so more employees and things of that nature. And so that presentation was given. And then after that, we moved forward with some other pertinent information. For example, we had James Wilson with Education Planner. He came and he gave us our annual demographic study. And this demographic study is important for a number of different reasons, because it allows us to look at the trends for the growth in Cobb County on an annual basis. And so we were able to say, hey, listen, Cobb County is growing and this is where the growth is. And that helps us to determine where we're going to build schools for the future, where we need to put some classroom additions at, and things of that nature. And so this report has been very helpful down through the years. And now that we're getting it on an annual basis, it's very, very helpful. The Atlanta Regional Commission is work is part of this, and that's where we get some of our data from. Live births, projected live births. And so one of the things that I do want to make sure that I highlight, there's a report in here that talks about the 2020 population by age. And so the age groups is like under 5, those that have not necessarily entered our school system yet, but they will be. Then we're talking about age 5 to 9, that's our elementary school. 10 to 14 is like middle school. And then 15 to 19, which is a more high school, early college. And so we were able to see where the growth is in that area. And what growth to expect. So when you're looking at like under 5, that tells you these students are probably going to be with you through 12th grade. And so you're going to have them through the duration for the next 10, 20 years. And so that helps us to determine where we're going to need to put schools, because especially if we see where they're concentrated at. And so one thing that I wanted to mention in this report, Pebblebrook High School, I look at Campbell High School, and particularly because that will be the area down here in the southern portion of the county. And as you know, Pebblebrook has the enrollment is at its capacity, over capacity. Campbell High School has some similar concerns. And so when I look at the ages of children that are coming into the system, they have a large under 5. In fact, they have the most under 5 population than any other school cluster here in Cobb County. And then when we're looking at ages 5 to 9, that's the next highest, and that is the Campbell cluster. So that Campbell area in Smyrna is really growing. It's growing at a rapid pace. And so, but then when I look at Pebblebrook, I notice that we're very steady and constant with high numbers of age 5 to 9, which means we do have a younger population that will eventually be coming through our schools over the next 10 years. And so this is some very good data to look at. I will be getting with the Mableton Improvement Coalition, the Powder Springs Community Task Force, Austell Community Task Force, so we can go through this, through the data here that was presented to the Cobb County School District and peruse it, so that we will know what we need to do as far as, the future classroom additions, buildings, etc., for our community and for our area, so that we can help mitigate the overcrowdedness that we are currently experiencing. So we are excited about that, and thank James Wilson for his presentation and giving that data to us every year. So it's greatly appreciated. One of the SPLOS items that we were able to approve on yesterday, we recommended the superintendent to move forward with awarding Oak Construction the contract to replace the HVAC at Bryant Elementary. And so, my kids go to Bryant. I'm part of the PTA there, love Bryant, and Dr. Tamika Klein, the principal over there. And so the school is going to be getting a complete HVAC replacement. And so it is much needed. And so we are excited about that item has come up. And so that work is going to begin very soon. In fact, one of the questions that I asked Mark Smith was, will this work take place over the summer so that it doesn't have any disruption to our education day? And so, yes, majority of the work will take place over the summer, because it is a full scale renovation for the HVAC. And so, yes, and so we are excited that will be happening. So come August, the school should have a brand new HVAC system. And so that's important. The other schools that also got awarded a contract was Dowell Elementary School and also Lewis Elementary School. So those three elementary schools will be receiving HVAC replacements over the summer. we had several administrative rules that had some verbiage change due to state law and other different things to just make sure that policy reads clear and that those administrative rules read clear. And so we looked at vacations, commencement ceremonies. We usually call them graduation ceremonies, but commencement ceremonies. Um, there's a change in the administrative rule for exchange students and use of school facilities. And I get a lot of calls in regards to the use of school facilities. So I am urging you, and that means those baseball fields, football fields, anything that's on school property. I'm urging everyone to take a look at that particular administrative rule. It is Administrative Rule KG-R, so that we are all on the same page as far as what the rules are moving forward, and so that we're not caught off guard by any any concerns that may come up as a result of that. I also would like to congratulate again Ms. Jackie Munfree. Many of you may know her as the Real Estate Maven. She is she's been reappointed to the Facilities and Technology Citizens Oversight Committee for Post 3. So she is our citizen oversight person that goes and sits in a meeting quarterly to discuss our SPLOST projects and where they are, and making sure that that we're spending the money that we're saying we're going to spend on it, and just an oversight. And then she gives recommendation, and those recommendations come to the Cobb County Board of Education. And more than likely, she will probably get in her next meeting this recommendation for the HVAC for the schools. Like Bryan is one of the schools, and that's one of her schools, and she'll probably get that recommendation in their next meeting, or their first meeting rather, of this year. Even though we've already approved it as a Board of Education, they still have oversight capabilities to go through the information and talk about the different bid and the bidding process and why we chose who we chose to do the work and things of that nature. And so she will be reappointed to the F&T committee. And then we also have our new appointee, and this is congratulations to you, Mr. Michael McNeely of Mableton. He will be our new appointee to the Facilities and Technology Citizens Oversight Committee. And so we thank both of you for your service, lending your time and your energy to ensure that we do have oversight on our Cobb Schools Plus committee. And so we will be meeting soon, the three of us, to talk about expectations and the future, and how we're going to move forward, and how we will report the information to the community, and those different things, and what we can do to best use that opportunity for the community. And so we'll be talking very shortly and getting ready for that as they prepare for their first meeting with the Facilities and Technology Oversight Committee. So thank you guys again for serving, Jackie Munfree and Michael McNeely. We appreciate the both of you for your service. All right. We had a lot of recognitions this month, but the recognitions were centered around counseling. And so I want to make sure that I give some shout outs first. So Counselor of the Year, our Georgia School Counselor of the Year. And this is big because this is a Post 3 counselor. So the Georgia School Counselor Association 2021 School Counselor of the Year is Miss Beth Ruff, and she's at Powder Springs Elementary School. And so again, Post 3 out there in Powder Springs doing an excellent, wonderful job with our children at Powder Springs Elementary. And she has been acknowledged by the state of Georgia and the School Counseling Association for the state of Georgia. And she will be representing the entire state as our Counselor of the Year. So Ms. Beth Ruff, we congratulate you. We just thank you for the work that you've done, the excellent work that you've done at Powder Springs Elementary. And I will be coming by there soon to visit you guys and to personally thank you again for everything, and just give you much love and support as you move forward representing the state of Georgia. And so we appreciate you. In addition to that, the RAMP program, we had several schools that received their RAMP designation from the American School Counseling Association, and the RAMP program is something that I have I've watched for years, and I've enjoyed it. Bryant Elementary had it a few years back. Lindley 6th Grade Academy had it maybe last year, I believe it was. And so we have some new schools that have joined the ranks of RAMP, and this is one of those counseling programs I would like to see our schools get designated for every single year, or however often that process is. But this year, we acknowledge Kemp Elementary School as a school of distinction, Smyrna Elementary as a school of distinction, and Hightower Trails Middle School as for their ramp designation. And so we appreciate all of you for your work in those counseling departments for pulling together curriculum and a game plan for how we're going to best meet the needs of our students. So we appreciate all of you for that in regards to that. Also, Georgia School Counselors Association 2021 Writer of the Year is Miss Dr. Melissa Marsh, and she's the supervisor of school counseling, advisement, and crisis response for the Cobb County School District. So this is exciting again because we're talking about another Writer of the Year or another award of the year. So she's representing the Georgia, our Georgia State Counseling Association as Writer of the Year. She has 3 books that she's written already. And so she's definitely an asset, not just to the state of Georgia, but to us here locally here in Cobb County. So Dr. Marsh, we thank you for lending your service and your time and your expertise to our counseling department in Cobb County Schools. And so, much appreciated. And as you move forward, we will send you out love and much support as you move forward as well. In addition to Ms. Marsh and Ms. Ruff, we have Georgia School Counselor Association 2021 Advocate of the Year, and that was given to Ms. Tracy Doe. Tracy Doe I do consider Tracy Doe to be an excellent advocate. We sit on the state advisory panel for the Georgia Department of Education for special education, and we have and sharing in that room together, I hear her advocacy all the time for our children with special needs that require services. And so we appreciate her. She's our assistant superintendent for teaching and learning support and specialized services. So our specialized services with those students that need those specialized services. And so Tracy Doe, we appreciate you for your leadership here in the Cobb County School District over our special education department and your advocacy with the state. And so it is appreciated. Thank you again. All right. So let's see. We had some condolences, and so we thank the superintendent for recognizing those that have served our community schools and have passed, and so we pray for their families. But a parapro from Murdoch Elementary, a bus monitor, and then also a 9th grade student at Wheeler High School. And so we're praying for those families as they handle this transition of life. All right. Some other important things to highlight. Employee contracts will come out early, as the superintendent suggested. They will be out in February. And so our educators, our employees, please be on the lookout for those contracts. There will be some upcoming policy updates on field trips. We received several emails in regards to that. So the district will be responding in regards to some policy updates or just some administrative rules in regards to field trips and those that are been planning trips for a while. And then we're going to also celebrate the month of March 14th through the 18th. That's Board of Education Appreciation Week. Yay, board members. We appreciate you for your service. And then Exceptions Children Week is also coming up, and that's going to be under the direction of Dr. Tracy Doe. And so we appreciate all of that support. All right. So let's move on to some other items that are of importance to us. Let's see. Those of you that have questions in regards to redistricting, it is underway. It is happening. We are, like I said, moving forward with that. Erica, good morning. I see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. We will be having several meetings in regards to redistricting. Like it's going to be an ongoing process. It is not as easy as redrawing some lines and things of that nature. A lot of data is being pulled to make sure that this process is smooth, because what we do, it needs to last for the long term. It needs to be something that lasts us for the next 10 years, much like those reapportionment lines and redistricting lines and things of that nature. This is the same thing for this process. We want to make sure that we are meeting not just the immediate needs of post 3, but the future needs as well. So Dr. Howard and I and myself, we're working together collaboratively to really adjust some of the things in the southern portion of the county to make education easier for our community and for our educators and for our students. And so one of the updates that I have to give you is that we've looked at transportation department, and we looked at some things in the Mableton corridor, that Mableton Elementary, Russell Elementary, Sanders Elementary, up in that area, and looking to see what some realignment and readjustments can be done for that. And so that process has started. And so, like I said, there's a lot of different layers to it, because the request that I made in December was for the Pebblebrook cluster. Oh, it was for post 3. So when we're talking about post 3, we're talking about the Pebblebrook cluster, South High School cluster, and the Keach cluster of schools. And so we in all those areas, we have some different things that we can adjust and maneuver around to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success for the future. And so so again, we started with the Lindleys, the Pebblebrook redistricting, and kind of getting a game plan ready for those 2 items, and we're still working on that. But then we're also looking at some of the other areas where Mableton Elementary is at or over capacity, and then you have neighboring Russell Elementary and neighboring Sanders Elementary that are under capacity, that we might can make some adjustments specifically for Mableton, because as you know, the properties right there on the next to Lidl on Floyd Road, Hicks Road, right in that intersection, the interchange area. Those housing subdivisions are coming up. One's finished. I think the next one is, they've already broken ground. And then also there's a townhome community next to Floyd Middle School that is up, and they've broken ground. And so we're seeing a lot of growth area. An apartment complex, a luxury apartment flat community is coming behind the Regents Bank and the Wendy's, the new Regents Bank and new Wendy's on Floyd Road there, right at the Nickajack intersection there. And so we have a lot of growth coming to the area. So what we want to do is make sure that we don't continue to overcrowd Mableton Elementary, but that we realign the line so that some of those schools that have an opportunity, they will be able to get some of that overflow. And so that is some of the work that we're working on in regard to that. So thank you. Again, we're working with our district office and education planners, Mr. James Wilson and others, to really make sure we tweak this thing right. So I appreciate them and their support of those efforts. In addition to that, we had public comment. And public comment, we had 5 people to speak, 5 citizens of Cobb County to speak at the worthy session. And the first person to speak was Shannon Dyson. And she's with Watching the Funds Cobb, and she wanted to talk to us about changing accreditation and some concerns that she had in regards to changing accreditation. As you know, we're currently accredited with Cognia, and she has some concerns in regards to changing that. And these are her words: changing accreditation. Jenny Peterson in post 5. She also came to talk to us in regards to the Cognia report and having discussion around the Cognia report. And as of yet, we have not done that as a Board of Education member. But I believe our chairman has just recently stated that that is on his to-do list. So hopefully in months to come, we will begin that process. Heather Tolley Bauer, she's also with Washington Funds Cobb. She also wanted to talk to us about changing accreditation and her concern around that as well. And then Craig Bauer, he's in post 5. He also came to speak to us in regards to the COVID survey that was done last year. He's a statistician or an actuary. So he works with those numbers, and he talked to us about the data from that COVID survey. He also spoke in regards to allowing students to speak at the Board of Education meeting. And he, being that we are a data-driven school district, we make our decisions based on data. He asked what data are we using, and he wanted to get clarity on that. And so, someone that's a statistician or an actuary, they love the numbers, they want to see those, and that's how they come to conclusions based on that. And so thank you, Mr. Bauer, for coming to speak to us. And then lastly, we had Laura Judge, and she's also Watching the Funds Cobb, and she wanted to speak to us in regards to accreditation and her concerns with the change to accreditation as is being stated, and how that affects, if we no longer are accredited with Cognia, how does that affect our STEM and STEAM programs that are accredited to the Cognia organization? So And I do understand that concern. Thank you, Laura, for coming and speaking to us in regards to that. At the evening session, we had 10 people to come and speak before the Board of Education. Ms. Tova Ringland, you may have heard me mention her name several times. Ms. Ringland is a resident of Cobb, but she's also a parent of students with special needs. And so she comes and she advocates every single month in regards to concerns that she has acknowledged and been a part of in regards to students with special needs, and just giving advice on how we can be better as a school district as it relates to working with parents and working with the students. And so we appreciate you, Ms. Ringland, for your continual advocacy. As you know, special needs has a special place in my heart, and so your advocacy is appreciated. And so thank you. Ms. Monica Delancey, and many of you may know Ms. Monica Delancey. She's an employee of the Cobb County School District. She's one of the resource specialists for the Cobb County School District, and but she's also a community advocate. For those of you that live in the Riverside community and live in Mableton and Austell, you know Monica Delancey, right? And we thrive in Riverside Renters Association. So she came first to address the board and wish us a happy Black History Month. And then she also wanted to talk to us about parents being evicted with their children during the winter months, and hoping that we can have a conversation with county government to help have a different conversation in regards to how we support families that are struggling, and then also how we can help to mitigate the eviction and the disruption that evictions cause to education and to students and to families. And so we thank you, Monica, again for your overall advocacy in regards to families in that space. Our third speaker was Jennifer Susko, and she also came to speak to us in regards to Cognia and her concerns with how we move forward in regards to that. Alexa Harkey, she came to speak to us in regards to BCBI revision, and she's a student at one of our schools in Marietta. And so we thank you. I love when our students come and speak to the board, because they're our number one constituents. That they are who we are here for. And so, I appreciate them coming. And good morning, Unita. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you joining. So yes, Miss Harkey, she came and she spoke to us, and so she asked that we make revisions to the policy. And so those student groups have been coming on a regular basis to get input from the Board of Education on how we can move forward with the BCBI policy that we just made some changes to on last month, actually. And so based on some of those concerns, some of the recommendations that came out of that conversation was to have a permission slip opting to allow the student to come and speak if their parent is just unable to come to a Board of Education meeting, and physically sign them up if you're under the age of 18. So that was one of the considerations that was given from Ms. Harkey. And she also asked that we drop the age requirement to 16. So if you're able to drive, which is 16, and you're able to drive yourself, of course, to the Board of Education meeting, then that should allow you access to speak at the Board of Education meeting. And so she offered those compromises, I would say, to the Board of Education. And then followed by Ms. Harkey was Jacob Hayes. And you may know Mr. Jacob Hayes. He's been in the newspaper recently in regards to his advocacy, also of BCBI, and asking that we make some considerations to the policy as well. His considerations were much like Ms. Harkey, and I like that there's a unified voice here in regards to what is being asked of the Board of Education. This particular request, again, was asking for the option to have a parental release, so that just like when we go on a field trip or anywhere else, a child brings in a permission slip with a parent's signature on it, and then that allows you access to the field trip. He's asking that we also, to ensure that our parents are aware that we're coming to speak before the Board of Education, have parental consent. And so having a release form of such that would allow that student to participate in the public speaking process without necessarily having a parent or a guardian with them. So thank you again, Jacob Hayes and Alexa Harkey, for your advocacy in that piece. We appreciate you. I love talking with you guys, and love when you come and speak to the Board of Education. Our next speaker was Austin Heller, who is a candidate for Cobb County School District Board of Education. And he's a student at Kennesaw State University, and he came to speak to us in regards to censorship in Cobb. And so he had some concerns in regards to that. And we appreciate you, Austin, for again advocating. Our young people are advocating and they're speaking, and so I thank you for letting your voice be heard. The next person, Lacey Kaysen. Lacey Kaysen is a parent here in Cobb County. I believe her son is a sixth grader at McClure Elementary, and she has some concerns in regards to a survey that went out at her school. And I guess the subject matter of the survey was very problematic for her. It was in regards to crack cocaine and, according to Miss Kaysen, crystal meth and some other drug-related questioning. And so when I heard it, I was kind of taken aback myself. And so I took the liberty of calling Miss Kaysen to get a little more information. And so I will also do another follow-up because I'm equally as concerned in regards to when we introduce different things to children and what way we introduce different things to children. And so I'm interested to hear more of her concern when we speak again today. So I'll look forward to that. And then Rebecca Saylor, she came to speak to the Cobb County School District in regards to COVID testing in schools. And her main concern was improving our mitigation strategy, simply because now we have access to free testing. The governor has opened up the window for us to have access to free testing. And so she wanted to know where were we with that? Were we going to actually move forward with testing in our schools or not? And so that was her concern. And we thank you for your advocacy as we do all we can to make sure children are safe in school. Michael Garza, he's in Post 4. We thank him for his advocacy. He came to talk to us in regards to school board redistricting. Those of you that may be following some of this stuff at our state capitol level, you may know some of the concerns in which he was trying to address to the before the Board of Education on yesterday, and he was just advocating for fair maps, and that the maps that were presented had little to no communication or community input and communication with the community. And so he had some concerns around that, and he came to address the board. And so again, Michael, thank you for your advocacy. And also the last speaker was Miss Jasmine Evans, and she's an Ackworth resident. And she came to speak with us in regards to enforcing state code mandates. And the state code in particular that she was referencing was 20-2-751-0.6. And that's Georgia legal jargon, and you can type it in Google and it will actually pop up. Actually, you put in OCGA 20-2-751.6, the Georgia code will pop up. And it's in regards to an incident that her son experienced at Barber Middle School back in October of last year. And these things are very problematic when they come to the Board of Education and they come to tell us, child is either being bullied or in this particular case, she referenced that, there was an attempted stabbing. And so she wanted to understand how we actually follow the Georgia code and how it is mandated in state law. And so she came to speak to us in regards to that, because we're talking about acts of violence and, what happens when you have that and what is the actual proper disciplinary actions that follow. And so she came to speak to us in regards to that. And so I will follow up again with Miss Jasmine Evans, because again, I do understand many of these concerns as a parent of children here in Cobb schools, and also as a board member and someone who is trying to do all they can to ensure that we have safe schools and that our communities continue to grow and thrive. It is a concern of mine. And so I'll follow up and see what that looks like as well, and see if there has been any progress in her current situation as well. So that's it. We had a pretty eventful meeting, but we got a lot of business done. We didn't do too much in regards to academics per se, but we did get some business done. And so that is a recap of the February Board of Education meeting. Oh, we did vote on the superintendent's contract. I'm sorry. I missed that completely. We voted on the superintendent's contract. So we did approve the superintendent to another year on his contract. So that would be a total of 3 years. So every year is like a rolling, we roll another year as he completes a year. And so it was as it was voted 4-3, where board members Dr. Howard, board member Sharice Davis, and board member Trey Hutchins, myself, we voted against the contract, and the other 4 board members, board member Wheeler, Scamelhorn, Chastain, and Banks, voted in favor of the contract. And so I did want to make sure that I amplified that information as well, that we did approve as a board the superintendent's contract for another year as well. So I think that's it. I think that's it. If we have any questions for the next 3 minutes or so, we can go ahead and get into some questions, some comments and things like that. And if not, I look to see each and every one of you tonight at South High School in the theater, their new theater. The Cobb County Center for Excellence in the Performing Arts at Pebblebrook High School will be presenting a Black History program entitled Resilience. So if you would like to come out and be thoroughly entertained and blessed with some of the best entertainment I'm not even gonna say in Cobb County, in the nation, come out tonight. You can pick up tickets at Showtix for You, and that's Showtix the number 4 u.com, and join me as we will be rooting our children on and enjoying what they present on this evening. All right, we have a couple more weeks left in the Black History Month, so celebrate, and get informed. Find out, what we have done in history down through the years, and how we've been a blessing to America, to the world, to the nation. And I think it's important that we share that information with our children as well, and so that they will have some greater pride in who they are as an African American person here in the United States and in America, Georgia, Cobb County. Lastly, please be aware that we will have a winter break coming up, the 21st to the 25th of this month, February. We will have winter break, so your children will be home all week long. There will be no school. So please don't let this slip up on you and you not have enough groceries in the house, because you know what happens when the children are home all week and we didn't prepare for the breakfast, lunch, opportunities for our children. They will eat you out of house and home that week. So just be prepared and set aside some extra money. Erica, you know what I'm talking about. These kids will they'll eat us out of house and home. So it's coming up in a couple weeks. So please be prepared. Please be prepared. Yes, that's right. Breakfast, lunch, and 10 snacks, because they're going to need it. And so I had to ask my children, how do y'all make it through the school day? Because y'all don't eat that much when you're at school. So it's just confusing to me that you come home and eat this much. But nevertheless, that's, parents, you understand. It's coming up. So please be prepared to assist your children. That's right. Assist your children in the coming weeks, the 21st to the 25th. They'll have that whole week off. So be prepared for that. Then, of course, those of us that have children in elementary, middle school, and even in high school, just be prepared that when they get back in March, we're going to start testing. So the testing season is upon us. So make sure that we are prepared to engage in regards to that. And okay, Erica, I'm going to have to do the same thing. Tell my children to activate their school stomach, because again, they eat what they get at school, but when they come here, it's something totally different. I think they activate their summer stomach when they come home for these breaks, and I think that's the problem. So please prepare your students for testing in the month of March and April. And then, of course, right behind that is graduation or commencement season in May. And so we are happy for all of that, for our students that will be matriculating onto their next destination in life, whether that's college, career, tech, jobs, opportunities. We're excited for you and your future. And so thank for all of you that are graduating, congratulations, and continue to work hard, because it's not over yet. We got to finish strong, and I hope to see many of you in the coming weeks. I'll be coming to do some Read Across America. I will be at Compton Elementary, and I'll also be at Hendricks Elementary. And so I'll be joining those 2 schools for Read Across America and in the coming weeks. So, and here we go. Thank you for sharing all the information. How often do you go live? Thank you. So yes, I go live every Friday after the Board of Education meeting. So that's once a month. You will always get this coffee talk where we're going to talk about what happened at the Board of Education meeting. So Board of Education meeting is on Thursday, usually the second or the third Thursday of the month. That next Friday, while it's still fresh, I'm going to report back as to what transpired in that board meeting and how it affects us specifically here in Post 3. But I also make some generalizations as to, the county, because, even though I represent Post 3, I serve the entire county. So we do that. The only time we do something different or something extra when I go live is if something is happening that's of, utmost importance, and we need to really have a town hall meeting, or I really need to get some information out to you right away. That's the only time we'll do something special. I do know that we will have a town hall shortly once we get more information in regards to redistricting for different areas. So the Pebblebrook cluster area, South Cobb High School cluster area, and also McEachern, Powder Springs area. We'll be having some town halls in the next coming weeks and months in regards to that. So just be on the lookout for that. But you can always find my information on my Facebook page, Coffee Talk with Trey. I've also linked it to Trey for Cobb Schools, I believe. And also it's also on YouTube as well. And so I will go shortly back to my personal page and say, hey, we just finished another Coffee Talk with Trey. You can follow, you can follow us on Coffee Talk with Trey and get these updates as well. So thank you for asking, Ms. Weeks. I hope that answers your question. All right, we're about to enjoy some coffee for real and enjoy our day. I actually am scheduled to meet with board member Randy Scamelhorn for lunch, and we're going to talk school board business today. So that will be a long meeting, because when we get to talking, we'll by the time we finish, it's 4:30, and we've been there for 4 hours. So I will enjoy Mr. Scamelhorn shortly, and we will discuss and see how we can help move our district forward together. And so that will be taking place as well. All right. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for joining us today, Eric. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you, guys, and we'll talk soon. All right. Now I can't find what I'm looking for. This is what happens when I'm having to be the producer at the same time. All right, guys. Y'all enjoy, you guys, and enjoy the rest of your Black History Month. Thank you.